Jeffrey Epstein, President Trump, I don't know if you saw, he started his coronavirus task force. And in the middle of his coronavirus task force, I guess, press conference, he wished Maxwell, who is the girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein, he wished her very well as she faces charges for recruiting, grooming, and sexually abusing minors as young as 14 years as the alleged accomplice of Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire sex trafficker. He said this during the press briefing on the pandemic. I'm going to quote Trump. I just wish her well, frankly. Trump acknowledged that he met Maxwell numerous times over the years, but said he has not been following the case. Wink, wink. Of course he doesn't follow the case. He never puts on the television, this guy. Maxwell, he watches it every day. Maxwell is charged with, and I'm sure he gets the inside scoop from the U.S. attorney, too. Maxwell is charged with enticement and conspiracy to entice minors to travel, to engage in illegal sex acts, transportation, and conspiracy to transport minors with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. Now, if you are in the New York area, as I am reading this, the man upstairs is very angry about all of this because he just let out a huge, I don't know if you heard this, huge thunder and lightning just as we started saying this. Is that coincidence? Now, she was denied.
Yeah, that's how you know there's evil.
That's right. She was denied.
Evil in those two.
That's right. She was denied bail last week. A federal judge said Maxwell's significant financial resources, international ties, and extraordinary capacity to avoid detection made her a flight risk. Nobody knew where she was for several years, and she was hiding up in New Hampshire in a home she bought under a fake name. Now, what do you think? Why would Donald Trump, out of nowhere, wish a woman well who has been documented in the Netflix series and, of course, on multiple news accounts and by testimony by hundreds of people to sex traffic for Jeffrey Epstein and engage in sexual activity with Jeffrey Epstein with little girls, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, promised them $100, $50. By the way, you know who is the next door neighbor to Mar-a-Lago? You watch the series. The next door neighbor, the neighbor to Mar-a-Lago is Jeffrey Epstein. The estate, Jeffrey Epstein's estate bordered the property line of Mar-a-Lago. So Trump knew Epstein. They were neighbors, literally next door. And this was even before Trump opened up Mar-a-Lago as a club. Why would he say this out of nowhere? What is he trying to do here?
Him wishing her well, I think that was a total mistake. I don't think his PR would have wanted him to actually say that. He needs to just learn how to be like, I'm not talking about that, or, you know what I mean, just brush it off. Like, that right there shows that he knows exactly what the hell was going on. He was a part of it. He knows that she's about to get in trouble for it. Like, with him saying that, I feel like that's low-key incriminating himself as well, because he knows.
What do you think, Vanessa? I'll give you my opinion. What do you think?
If you guys watch that clip back, like, he keeps it so distanced, like as if in passing knew these people, but it's not like he was ever involved with them, because God forbid that the president of the United States would have any affiliation with any shady business ever in the history of Donald Trump. So, yeah.
All right. So my opinion.
His yard is not grateful for that.
My opinion, and it's just an opinion, I have no idea. Trump has pardoned a lot of criminals. And Trump pardons criminals who could possibly say something bad about Trump or actually get Trump indicted himself for criminal activity. So every person, if you think about who he has pardoned, or many of them have been associates of Trump who could have turned on Trump and testified against Trump of criminal activity. Roger Stone, Manafort. Well, he hasn't pardoned Manafort yet. So I think, Yo-Yo and Vanessa.
You think he's going to pardon her?
I think he can't go visit her in jail and say, shut up and I'll pardon you. So this is the best way.
Oh, his little wink wink?
His wink wink. This is the best way that he can communicate to either the lawyers, or that it's like a wink wink to either her or her lawyers and saying, shut up. Don't say anything. Maybe Trump has something to do with this, or people that are very close to Trump within Trump's circle have something to do with this. But I think it's a wink, wink. Don't say anything, and I'll give you a pardon. Because
it could very well be
he didn't have to say anything. He didn't have to bring it up, and then all of a sudden he's now wishing her well. So I think that was like code to shut up and I'll pardon you. That's my opinion. But I have no idea. I don't know.
That would be insane if she gets pardoned.
Now, I don't know if you saw this to add a little more intrigue, but did you see that the attorney who shot the husband and son of federal judge Esther Salas in New Jersey the other day? Apparently, he had a beef with Salas's husband. That's what they say in the news. However, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, one of the most high-profile cases that Salas is working on right now is a case regarding somebody who's suing an investment company that invested money of Epstein, and that investment company, as part of the Epstein lawsuit, has to show how Epstein got his money, which may implicate people because Epstein, we learned, really didn't earn his money. He got it from other people. So I don't know if it has something to do with that. There's a lot of conspiracy theories going on right now. The lawyer who killed the son and the husband lived, and he's in the hospital now. But he was dying of cancer, the shooter. He had nothing to lose. So the news is saying it was just a beef against the husband. But maybe it's something more sinister. Maybe somebody went to this man and said, hey, you're going to die anyway. Let me take care of either your family. I mean, who knows? I mean, anything could happen.
That's a scary movie right there.
Now, this lawyer is also suspected of a July 11th murder of a men's rights attorney, Mark Angelucci, in California as well. I don't know. Do you buy into any of this conspiracy, or you think it's just coincidence that this judge was working on an Epstein case?
No, I think it's conspiracy for sure. I don't think it's coincidence.
There's just so many different things that can go around. I feel like there's so many conspiracies amongst the elites. So it's kind of hard to say.
I think Epstein was killed. I think it's just too many coincidences. This is the problem. There's too many coincidences. Epstein hung himself in a high security prison when everyone's supposed to have his eyes on him, and all of a sudden he gets killed.
The biopsy doesn't add up. The scientists all say that it doesn't.
That's correct. All of a sudden Donald Trump is telling Epstein's girlfriend, wink, wink, don't say anything. I wish you well. And then the judge who could release documents that could implicate powerful men out of nowhere, of all of the people that this lawyer is going to go after to shoot, he would shoot the judge's family who could release documents about Epstein. It just doesn't add up.
I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's all.
It doesn't add up. I don't. Yeah. You know, you can believe the official story. And I am not into conspiracy theories. And by the way, there's the man upstairs again with another thunder. I don't know if you hear it or not. It's true. So does.
No, but I'm looking over here.
I mean, I don't usually buy into conspiracy theories. Like, for example, I don't believe there are aliens in Area 51, but I don't know.
You really don't?
What?
You don't believe that there are aliens?
No.
Me either, though.
I don't buy those conspiracy theories. I'm buying this one.
In the universe. Like aliens, though?
Trump signed. This one is barring undocumented immigrants from being counted in the census. How does that affect America? It affects America in terms of how money is distributed, how people are counted. So, in other words, when money is distributed from the federal government to states, they distribute the money in blocks. Congress says we're going to allocate X amount of dollars for transportation, for example. And then it gets divided to the different 50 states based on their population as a percentage. Now, Trump signed an executive order today saying, as part of the census, we're not going to count undocumented aliens. We're not going to count anyone who is not a lawful resident or a U.S. citizen. Now, that also affects voting. It also affects the presidential election, not this particular one, but future ones for the Electoral College. Now, Dale Ho, the director of the ACLU's Voting Rights Project, said the new order would be found unconstitutional by the courts because the Constitution requires that everyone in the United States be counted in the census. That's what the Constitution says. The Constitution doesn't say only Americans be counted or only Americans and lawful permanent residents be counted. So the Supreme Court previously blocked the citizenship question from being asked on the census, but now Trump has ordered the change in the counts of people who are undocumented, not to count them. So expect another lawsuit regarding that. Meanwhile, coronavirus, Johns Hopkins University says there are now over 15 million coronavirus cases worldwide. 618,000 people have died. More than 8.5 million people have recovered. In the United States, more than 3.9 million people have been diagnosed with corona. The U.S. reported more than 1,000 coronavirus-related deaths on Tuesday for the first time since May 29th. CNN reported that California has surpassed New York as the state with the most confirmed coronavirus cases. Dozens of states across the United States are grappling with an increased COVID-19 cases, especially in some southern states like Florida, Georgia, Texas, and Arizona. At his press conference yesterday, Trump said it's going to get worse. He finally admitted it. He also said maybe we should all be wearing masks. He also said maybe we should be social distancing. You know, if we were doing all of this since April or since March, okay, and we didn't make a political thing about wearing masks, and we didn't make a political thing about social distancing, and we said it's okay. The problem is lots of Americans don't trust the government, and lots of Americans don't find that what the government is saying is legitimate. So as a result of it, a lot of people are not following directives that are scientifically sound, like wear a mask, like social distance. If we had a government that functioned legitimately, that you may not like their policies, because not everybody likes everybody's policy, but at least it's a legitimate government that you feel is not lying to you, we, I believe, would not be in this mess today. We're in this mess today because people don't believe government anymore. And as a result of that, people don't know what to do. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask, social distance, don't social distance. There's conspiracy theories that coronavirus doesn't even exist, that it was made up by the U.S. government. But in countries that have governments that are legitimate, and when I say legitimate, not that the United States government's not a legitimate government, but is a believable government. In Europe, in an authoritarian China, in Japan, in South Korea, when you have governments where people listen and follow the directives of the government because they believe what the government is telling them is truthful.
They trust them.
Okay, they trust them. Then we have low coronavirus. We can go back to school without worrying about being infected. We can go to work without worrying about being infected. Yo-Yo and Vanessa could be next to me in the studio and we could have a real show. We're not having a real show at this moment, but even a more real show. But people don't trust what to hear, and as a result, a lot of people don't wear the masks. A lot of people don't social distance. A lot of people don't believe this is a problem. And it varies depending on where you are. In the Northeast, where we are, where our show is, most people trust the government. They trust at least the local government. Maybe they don't trust the federal government, but they're trusting their governors, their mayors, their local government. And for example, in New York, when Cuomo says wear a mask and social distance, most people are doing it. In New Jersey with Governor Murphy, the same exact thing, where Vanessa is. And as a result, in the Northeast here, we're more like Europe. We have low coronavirus, low transmission. We're all in phase 4. I mean, we still have to be careful. We still have to wear a mask. But we're much better off than the rest of the United States that doesn't seem to want to listen to wear a mask and social distance. I think it's about that people just don't trust the government. In other parts of the United States, they don't trust their local government. They don't trust their federal government.
They don't trust, nor do they like them.
Maybe.
That's the thing.
Maybe.
I don't think they like him either, because we all like Cuomo. You being personable, and that right there gives us some kind of a trust for him too. You know, that gives us a reason to trust you if you're personable. What's
interesting is the governors who are most well-liked with the most favorable popular opinion at the moment are the governors that kept coronavirus low, regardless of how they affected the economy. The governors who said, we're going to open up, it's important that our economy runs, those governors are not as popular because ultimately you can't open up an economy if everybody's getting sick. Nobody's going to go out anyway. Exactly. So it's the governors in the Northeast who are actually the most popular right now because they closed it down, but then they kept coronavirus low. The Northeast is having, of all of the United States, the Northeast is doing the best right now.
Look at us.
This is interesting. A large study from South Korea revealed that children under 10 transmit coronavirus to others much less than adults. So based on this, South Korea feels that at least for children 10 and under going back to school will not be as dangerous as sending children 10 and over to school. The difference being that children under 10 are less likely to a large degree to spread the virus to adults. Once you reach around the age of 10 years old, at least according to this study, you are more likely or just as equally likely to pass on coronavirus to an adult as a 10, 11, 12, or a teenager as an adult. Now, as everybody knows, on Hump Day, it gets a little randy. There's our camels. A city near Boston is the first in the country to recognize polyamorous relationships. You know what that is?
Yes.
More than one person, that's for sure.
That is when you are in a relationship with more than one person. Now, domestic partnerships have been defined as entirely formed by two persons, but now the new definition of a polyamorous relationship is formed by more than two people. And the
ordinance, Mama over there.
That's right. The ordinance also
happy.
The ordinance also replaces pronouns he or she as they. Now, let me ask you a question, guys. I don't believe either one of you want to be in one. Would you or no? Would you?
No.
Vanessa? But if you had to be in one, okay? If you had to be in one, it's a law now, Jonathan and Vanessa. You have to be in a polyamorous relationship. Would you want the third wheel to be another man or another woman? Sorry, Yo-Yo's dad, but we got to ask these questions. Because if it's another woman, then you're sharing that woman, I guess, amongst the three of you. But if it's another, if it's another man, you're sharing that woman, Jonathan, with another man. But if it's two women and a man, then woohoo, you know.
Right.
But then that's a lot more work for you.
Yeah, I would actually be okay with joining a couple. So, like, I would join Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. You would, because they, so I don't really have.
Are you throwing that out into the social media?
Into the universe.
Into the universe to see if that could happen.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I want to be a part of that entanglement right there.
You do, because that's crazy, right? It's exciting.
Yeah, because I won't have to worry about bills.
Right.
I'm going to be entertained. Right. They're great looking.
And you'll get a lot of followers on Instagram.
There you go.
That's right. Vanessa, would you want a male, a female, somebody famous, or you want to be low key? Jonathan wants somebody famous.
I just want the most efficiency. And sorry to my gentlemen out there. So if I had to bring anything else into my relationship, it'd probably be another woman because she would be more efficient than another man would be.
Wow.
I said it.
That is true.
In general, in terms of keeping the home together.
Right. Okay.
In terms of everything all well-rounded. Right. So well-rounded.
And you can take a couple of days off and not feel guilty.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. You can check out and not feel any guilt whatsoever.
Be efficient. I would be efficient.
It's like right now.
Well, look at who you chose to be with.
It's like
I'm sure they could just use a Dr. Love, like a little boy toy, for sure. Go for it.
It's like at Smart Bernstein right now. We have A and B days. Vanessa would make an A day and a B day. I'm on every other day.
Right.
Smart.
I guess I would have to pick another female, only because that's more efficient, and I don't know if I can handle like another man in my bed with me. I think I wouldn't be able to deal with that. I'd be like 1 foot on the floor, I wouldn't sleep all night. But I'm one eye open, like, what is this guy doing? So I think I would
Look at that lady right there with her 4 boyfriends. She just looks happy.
All right. Meanwhile,
that's like a 4-bedroom house. Has to be.
Meanwhile, a man in Las Vegas stole a 3-foot tall, 50-pound dildo from a sex shop. According to TMZ, the masked man was captured on video as he strolled into the Deja Vu Love Boutique on July 14th and grabbed the massive member standing on the sales floor. He got it up over his right shoulder and nonchalantly left the premises, crammed the dildo into his vehicle, and drove off. Laura, a store worker, said he just picked it up and walked out. The dildo is named the Moby, presumably in homage of Herman Melville's classic Moby Dick. It retails for $1,250. What would anybody do with a 3-foot tall, 50-pound dildo? I would expect that it would go over his shoulder. I don't think he'd be able to stick that one in his pants and get out of the store, right?
Yeah, that's wild that it's actually on sale.
I think it would just be for decoration. You know, I don't think anyone would actually be able to use
it. You never know. You never know, man. It's in Vegas. It's in Vegas.
Maybe it's just nice to look at.
I think if somebody was able to use that, then they got huge problems. They need to see a doctor. Doctors have warned women not to put tobacco in their private parts after the practice was dangerously claimed.
What?
Yes, after the practice was dangerously claimed to boost sex drive. Medics warn the trend has no real effect on the libido. It's believed to raise the risk of cervical cancer and stillbirth. It's called vagina tobacco, and it's popular in West Africa, but gynecologist Dr. Abiole Diop believes it only gives women the sensation their genitals are shrinking because the chemicals cause vaginal muscles to retract, but it doesn't really do anything. Last week, we learned that people were using toothpaste. This week, we learned tobacco. People need some sort of sexual stimulant down there, apparently, these days.
I know. Well, guess what? You know, my frat brother.
We're in the wrong business.
My frat brother is actually making weed lube.
But I don't think that would work either, right? That would be numbing.
He says it works.
Wait, but like CBD lube?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be more numbing?
No. I can see where his friend is going with that.
Really?
And that could very well be a thing.
That's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Yes.
What would it do?
He makes it.
What would it do?
He makes it. What does it do? It gets into your system faster.
Yeah, it's like CBD oils when people use like oils to relieve muscle pains now.
Right.
There's so like different
I guess it would release the muscles in that area. Correct?
Yes. Yes.
Can you do that one more time just for Hump Day, please? Thank you very much. Now, in case you thought the coronavirus lockdown wasn't making people desperate enough, a few lovesick souls are apparently getting turned on by Amazon's Alexa. A staggering 28% of people admitted to having the hots for Amazon's voice recognition software, according to sex toy company WeVibe.
Come on,
yes, Ryan Levine is among those who couldn't resist Alexa's charms. Levine, who lives in Miami, has rarely ventured out of the apartment since quarantine, so he turned to his Amazon Echo Dot, situated conveniently in his bedroom, for companionship during solitary evenings. He said it's lonely in lockdown. While feeling particularly spontaneous, he even asked Alexa for a date. I was curious, he said, adding that she broke it to him, gently explaining, "I just like you as a friend." Oh my God, when you are desperate enough, to ask Alexa for a date and get turned down, you really need psychiatric help.
I actually asked her, I can't say her name. If I do, then she's going to turn on. But I asked her to marry me, and she said that she vowed to not marry anybody until they found. Hold on, let me ask her real quick. So
Alexa,
will you marry me?
That's nice, but I really like our relationship the way it is.
Oh, poor Yo-Yo. Poor Yo-Yo.
You played yourself, Dr. Love. Dr. Love, you played yourself.
No, that's a nicer one. Last time, when I asked her earlier, while I was reading this, I asked her earlier, and she said, I vowed to not marry anybody until we find life on Mars.
Yo, I think maybe if you got that on a knee and bought a ring, maybe she would give you a different answer.
Right. Look at chivalry is dead, these millennials.
A newly single woman was reportedly broken. her private parts after using her vibrator as many as 6 times a day. Have you ever heard of such a thing, Vanessa? After splitting from her, I never did. After splitting from her husband, Nadia Bocotti, she was looking for a way to meet her needs. She bought a rampant rabbit sex toy made famous by the HBO television show Sex and the City. She said it was incredibly liberating and empowering to really take control of my sexuality. Struggling with pelvic pain, however, Brodke went to the doctor to test for sexually transmitted disease. Each test came back clear. It was only after a series of questions the doctor discovered the true cause of the pain. It was the sex toy. Now, Nadia confessed that she used it 6 times a day, which amounts to about 42 sessions a week. She explained the doctor started asking some questions, and that's when I realized the pain had been the result of me overusing the rabbit. Despite her experience, Nadia says she's far from burned out. Rather, it helped her to expand her horizons. She wrote on Instagram, "Let's stop dehumanizing women who dare to own their sexuality." Just own it.
I agree.
Don't injure yourself. You know, there's a difference between owning your body and injuring your body. That's all I can tell you.
Like, be easy, sis. Like, 6 times a day.
Yeah, and then go slow. Maybe she was like going like a jackhammer with that thing. Who knows? You know, you gotta go slow and gentle, right?
Gentle.
Yes, Brad.
Slow
yes.
and gentle. What do I know? Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.